Today we're going to be showing you how to install a loaded strut assembly. In this video we'll install these Duralast Loaded Strut assemblies in the front and rear of this 2007 Pontiac Vibe. Now, this installation works exactly the same for a Toyota Matrix. With a loaded strut assembly you don't have to take the assembly apart to get to the strut. Instead of taking an old assembly out then removing just the spring from the strut, you get to put in this whole new assembly. That's a new strut mount, insulator, dust boot, new coil spring, and the strut itself. In this loaded strut assembly, that's all in one piece. It's a faster, safer, and easier install to improve your ride control. You can do this job safely at home with hand tools. For this job, you'll need a torque wrench and a 30mm deep well socket. You can borrow these from AutoZone with the Loan a Tool program. You'll need a few other sockets, a 19mm, 21mm, 22mm, 17mm deep, 14mm deep, regular 14mm, and a 12mm. You need a 1/2-inch drive breaker bar, 7/8 or 22mm combo wrench, 11/16 or 17mm combo wrench, a 1/4-inch ratchet, a 3/8 ratchet, a 1/2-inch ratchet, a 1/2-inch drive 6-inch extension, a punch, a pocket screwdriver and a 6mm Allen wrench, and a mallet. You may also need some rust penetrant like PB Blaster. And of course we'll need a hydraulic jack and some jack stands. Use a hydraulic jack to raise the vehicle slightly. Refer to your owner's manual for the correct position to jack the car. This car has a hubcap and lug nut caps. Take those off to access the lug nuts and begin removing the wheel. Break the lug nuts before raising the vehicle completely. Raise the vehicle with the jack, then insert a jack stand at a secure area of the vehicle's frame. Remove the lug nuts and the wheel. To get started, we're going to break the axle nut. Use a punch to knock the axle loose from the spindle. Unscrew the clip holding the brake line and wheel speed sensor in place. This will allow these to stay out of the way when installing the strut. Use an Allen wrench to break the sway bar link nut. You may need some rust penetrant to clean this up before it will come off. Put the jack under the lower control arm to remove pressure. Break and loosen the two bottom bolts. Lower the jack as needed to adjust pressure and then remove the two bottom bolts. Loosen and remove 2 of the 3 upper nuts. You're going to need to go under the hood to access them. When removing the 3rd nut, hold onto the assembly from the outside to prevent it from dropping. You may want to have a second person hold the assembly while removing the final nut. Once the nut is loose, just pull the assembly out. Now you're ready to install your new assembly. Line up the bolts in the top of the assembly and install in the same position as the old assembly. Install the top nuts and tighten. Install the bottom bolts and tighten. Use a jack to adjust the lower control arm and then install the sway bar link nut. Install the brake hose clip. Install the axle nut and tighten with a torque wrench. And you just put the wheel back on. Screw on the lug nuts and lower the car till it's barely touching the ground, then tighten the lug nuts in a start pattern. Lower the car all the way, install the hubcap and the lug nut caps. Now you're going to repeat this process on the other side, and then you're going to move to the rear. We're going to take out the middle of the plastic floor cover to access the 3rd top bolt. We're going to remove the tire cover in the back. Loosen and remove the top nuts, starting with the 2 you access from the top. And finishing with 1 bolt accessed from the bottom. Remove the bottom nut and washer from the stud mount. Then pull out the assembly. Install the assembly in the same position as the old assembly. Install the 2 top nuts on the top. Install the bolt from the bottom. Install the bottom of the assembly onto the strut mount, then install the nut and washer and torque to spec. Reinstall the wheel, then repeat this process on the other side. Once you've got both assemblies installed, you want to put the interior paneling back together.